everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Louise, I am the maker on the move. Today is the video I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for. I haven't posted a video for a couple of weeks and I know you all want to know how van life is getting on. Well, as you can see, I'm in the van, so there's been a bit of progress along the way, but I will catch you up on everything right from the start. First off, before I show you my van life story from purchasing the van to leaving on the date that I headed out on my Europe adventure, I would just like to say this is in absolutely no way a how-to video. Do not follow any of the steps that I've done. I have made so many mistakes. I got caught out, I got scammed, it was just an absolute nightmare, but I made it and I am currently living the dream. So take everything I say with a little pinch of salt and definitely do not use this as a guide. So for the last couple of years I have been a little bit obsessed with tiny houses and with van life and seeing people experience the world and traveling and just downsizing for either permanently or temporarily and just living a completely different lifestyle, and it's always appealed to me. I love to travel, and with COVID I definitely got itchy feet. Not being able to do very much other than work and be at home really made me want to travel as much as possible as soon as everything opened back up again. So here we are in 2022, and the idea that I can drive across Europe in a van that I built with almost no building knowledge beforehand. I'd done a bit of DIY and flat pack building and things like that, but YouTube became my best friend, how to do electrics and woodwork and cut holes in metal and all of the things. It was a really good learning experience, and at times, as you will see, extremely stressful. So let's get going. Last August, so August 2021, I had been looking at vans online for quite a while. I had been thinking maybe I should do it, maybe I shouldn't, I'm not really sure. And then one came up about a 3-hour drive from me, and I decided, stupidly and naively, to buy it without seeing it. Yeah, I know. That's when we got Bertie 1. So I will hand over to a very excited and an extremely naive Louise, and she will explain everything to you. Today I'm going to be giving you a tour of our brand new camper van. So today is Wednesday and we picked up the camper van on Sunday. It was a bit of an adventure. It took us 3.5 hours to drive to get it. We had a bit of lunch and then we drove back for 3.5 hours as well. It is a Renault Master. It is a 2003. So yes, we're very excited. The people we got it from bought it as a minibus and then converted it very loosely over lockdown. So it definitely needs repainting, it needs rejigging on the inside, and we are hoping to be heading out on the road sometime in 2022. So we picked up the van, we came home, I did a very excited in-depth tour of the van, which now nobody will ever see because, as you will find out, it very quickly became very unimportant. It had a fold-out sofa bed, there was a little kitchen section with a sink and a hob, and it also had a little toilet cubicle as well. I am so excited. I love having a project, and this is definitely something to focus my energy on. Next step is in a couple of weeks the van is getting serviced, so it will get mechanically serviced to make sure that we don't have any surprises while we're on the road. We wanted to make sure that what we had was safe, so then that if we need to make any changes we can do it as we go along rather than being blindsided by them when we get to the end of the project. Obviously safety is paramount, so I just want to make sure that everything is how it should be. My job at the moment is I own a fabric and wool shop. Now I would love at some point ever for this to become like a portable workshop studio space, so I can drive around and see different fabric shops, go on little adventures, make from here as well, so crochet, sewing, things from the van. That is why this channel is called The Maker on the Move, because hopefully before long, fingers crossed, I will be hitting the road at least for a while and showing you guys what I get up to. It is pretty exciting looking back that even Louise from a year ago knew that she wanted to create more craft in the van, make it the Maker on the Move, basically have the opportunity to shop different fabric and yarn shops around the world, to create on the go and not feel quite so trapped and get those creative juices flowing by being wherever she could be. So I'm very glad that a year on, regardless of everything else that's changed in the scheme, that is still the key focus. That was always the plan, and that is what I am currently doing. We stripped it back to a bare canvas, and once we'd had a little bit of help from Sophie, we could start to see the actual reality of the van that we had bought. Once we started removing everything from the van, we very quickly found out that there was a lot more work to be done than we expected. At this point, I was still feeling pretty optimistic and that we could get everything sorted, but that very quickly changed. It is just before 8 on Saturday morning, and I'm taking Bertie for her service. It's completely empty now. It looks so mad, like considering how it looked when I picked it up. Today is make or break day. Today is the day we find out whether Bertie is structurally sound, whether she's mechanically sound, if there's any extra work that needs to be done, how much money she's going to cost me before we even start the build. So I'm definitely a little bit nervous because this could go one way or the other. But we've got to get it done. We've got to get it serviced. We've got to make sure that she's absolutely safe if we're going to put the money and the time and then spend the time and know that it's going to be safe and reliable to be in. So after about 45 minutes, the phone rang and the garage let me know that basically we'd bought a complete dud. It needed so much work doing to it. It was going to be a complete money pit, and they basically said they didn't want to touch it. For full details, here's last year Louise with the full rundown. Hi guys, so quite a lot has happened since the last time I recorded for you. It's actually 3 weeks later, 2.5 weeks after you saw me take Bertie for her service. Long story short, she's pretty broken. The first guys who we took it to, who did the service, basically said that her entire underneath is completely rusted. The brakes don't work, the handbrake doesn't work, the wheels need replacing, the tyres need replacing, and about 1,000 other things. They basically said it would cost so much money for us to do that they didn't want to touch it, because as soon as they start taking one thing apart, something else might break and something else might break. So that was like a kick in the gut. I definitely had a cry. It just felt like everything was against me that week. So we decided to bring Bertie home, have her on the driveway for a bit and just regroup and figure out what we should do. Later that week, I took her to a different place to get a second opinion and another quote to see how much the work is likely to cost. And they looked over her, said all of the things that the first guy said. The idea was to just put back in as much into Bertie as we can. So like the sink we took out, sell it as a motorhome rather than as an empty van. It still has the inverter and the leisure batteries and everything, and just sell it, try and sell it for as much as we can so we can get another one. So we were in the process of doing that, and we actually bought a second van. Now obviously I'm still sitting in Bertie, we do need to sell her, but we bought another one. The other one is a bit more decked out already. Everything might change. We're going to take the other van for a service as well, because they could come back and say that one's useless too, and then we're in trouble. So yeah, I leave a lot up to the universe, and sometimes it kicks me in the teeth. So we sold Bertie 1, which was a bit sad because I was a bit attached to it, but obviously I knew financially it made absolutely zero sense. I lost a bit of money on it, but it wasn't enough to completely derail the project. Managed to have one night away in Bertie 2. That was obviously a lot more kitted out before we started, but again, I did a full van tour, everything you needed to see, and once again, it became pointless. Once we ripped everything out of Bertie 2, we found that she had a leak in the floor, and it actually turned out to be a rotten chassis. Now we could have got it fixed. It was completely fixable. It wasn't unsafe to drive, but for me it wasn't worth the money. I'd rather get a van that was structurally sound and move forward knowing that that bit was going to be safe, and put the money into the conversion rather than into the van. Good thing about Bertie 2 though is the bench seats that you can see and the kitchen is something that we actually kept and is now in the third van, which I will get to in a second. If nothing else, we managed to salvage bits from both of the builds. There's some shelves from Bertie 1, there's the main parts from Bertie 2 that we could put together and Frankenstein ourselves a little van. Once I realised that I had yet another van to sell, I'm not going to lie, I was feeling quite impatient with the process, and I just wanted to get on with the project. I couldn't believe that lightning had struck twice, and once again I'd bought a van that wasn't fit for the job. I was beginning to think that it might never happen, but I never gave up on the journey because I knew that it was something that I wanted so much and I was going to make it happen. I did feel slightly better about the fact that when I took the vans to be serviced or to be looked at by the garage, both times the people said that they wouldn't have known that the issue was there from the position that it was in when it was bought. So they would have had to put it up on a ramp to see underneath, or they would have had to rip out everything we did. So I feel slightly better that there were unforeseen things that I couldn't have spotted beforehand. I didn't buy completely stupidly, if that makes any sense. I knew that I had been looking for the right things, and I then felt confident that when it came time to get the third van, still know exactly what to look for, but there was always an element of risk when you're buying a second-hand vehicle. So once Bertie 1 and Bertie 2 had both been sold, I went a couple of months just looking at camper vans online, not buying any, not rushing into anything. In November, December and January, I took some time away into the States, and when I got back, I decided that I was actually going to sell my business. Now, it was a big decision, and if you want to see any of that, I will tag one of the videos that I've already made at the top so you can see where my journey started here. I also knew that in January I would have a deadline of the summer, that I wanted to be able to sell the shop, do a little bit of work on the van and then hit the roads. So I needed to get cracking and find a new van to restart the project. I've been spending a lot of time looking at vehicles on Auto Trader, which is something we have here in the UK, which helps you find used vehicles, Facebook Marketplace and on eBay, and just having a look. But most of the time, as soon as you look at one, they've gone. They're in such high demand at the moment. I found a van on Facebook Marketplace, which was a silver Ford Transit. It was a dirty old trades vehicle. It had all sorts of things I don't even want to think about. It had metal racking, it had the big bulkhead in, and it definitely needed some imagination, but it clearly had a lot of potential. For me, I could stand up in the back. I'm not the tallest human in the world, but it worked for exactly what I needed it to, and most importantly, the metal work was all safe. The body work needed a tiny little bit of work, but nothing that wasn't going to be a couple of £100. It drove really nicely, and I knew that it had just passed its MOT, so that made sure that it was safe to drive. It might not have been exactly what I was hoping for because it is shorter, it's narrower and it's not as tall, but I knew that I could definitely make it work. So I'd finally found a structurally sound and mechanically sound vehicle, and it was time. So van number 3 came home with me, was not named Bertie 3 at any time because I did not want to jinx her with the name. It was very exciting to get her home, and I could finally start planning what I wanted for the inside of the van to look like. Now I had measurements and knew how much the bodywork was going to cost and things like that, so it was a really great way to start the build. When I was planning the furniture to go inside, I went to Ikea with my best friend Fee, who you will see pop up on this channel quite a few times. So the next 5 minutes of content are about what I bought to put in the van, and also us laughing hysterically at each other in Ikea. So if you don't want to see that and you're here strictly for crafting and van content, I will put a bookmark at the bottom and you can skip ahead. But if not, enjoy us acting like unsupervised 5-year-olds. Also, this was so long ago, COVID precautions were still in place, so that's why we're wearing our masks. But it's really weird that a year on, I can travel as much as I want. It's such a weird world. That feels like such a long time ago. But anyway, here they are. Ah, we have made it! Oh, we're going to Ikea! Oh! Back to the meatballs! You know it. We're very excited, can you tell? We've also had quite a bit of sugar, which probably doesn't help. We had a good look around, tested some of the beds, got an absolute bargain tabletop, and then headed to Bargain Corner. For those of you who aren't Ikea nerds like I am, that is the bit at the end of the warehouse where they have seconds, they have ex display stuff, and they have stuff that people have bought back that there is nothing wrong with but isn't in the original packaging. So there's always somewhere that you can get a really good deal. So basically, I've just found these drawer fronts, which I love the colour of. They're £10 each, down to 50p. So I'm getting 12. This is all going too well. Because I've also got these units. £30 down to 8 quid each, and one of them's already built. Should we get some more of these? Should we get another 3? 15 feels like £7.50. That's less than one.
8, 9.
So, utter madness. We found those things that were meant to be 50p instead of a tenner. We got to the till, a penny. A penny! So we're going to go and buy some more. I don't know what I'm going to use them for. We're going to use them like pieces of wood, but they're a penny. So even if they're rubbish, they're a penny. So guys, we're back in the car. It's dark. It's 8:45. We went back and got, I went back and got 37 more 1 penny drawer fronts. and we've just tried to fit them all in here. Hopefully it'll be usable, but if I'm honest, if I've spent 52p and it was a waste of money, then you know, I'll just take the hit. Why are you laughing?
Because you bought 52 drawer fronts that should have been £10 each. So 52 drawer fronts should have cost you £520.
Yep.
But you paid 52p. It's ridiculous. Even if you resold them for 2p each, you would double your profit.
Imagine if I sold them for a tenner each. I'd be rolling in it. And my 2 cupboards that should have been £58 that I got for 16. And one of them's already built. And my tabletop.
£7.
Those drawers were 99.9% off. You know when you're somewhere and something's like £4.99, you give them a £5, you're like to about the penny, put it in the pot. Hello, I could have bought me a drawer front. Now I feel like I wasted my 2p's at the seaside.
I could have got you 2 drawers.
What am I thinking? 52p.
You can't even buy a chocolate bar for 52p.
Look, I'm telling you, the cardboard it is wrapped in. Each of those drawers is wrapped in cardboard with a sticker on it.
Yeah.
That would have cost more than a penny. Ikea, what are you doing? Thanks though. I was happy with 50p each.
Yeah.
What they should have been?
Yeah.
A penny. Right, should I get Mackey's?
Yes.
Bye!
Bye.
So the 52p's worth of drawer fronts are how the new van number 3, got the name Olive. So they're this beautiful olive green colour, and she needed a name and it just felt like it made sense. So when you finally see in the van, in the tour that I'm going to do in a couple of weeks, you will see that there's these little hints of green absolutely everywhere. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of the van build. The first thing to do was to get rid of the internal rust. There'd been a little bit of a leak in the ceiling that was fixed very quickly by the guy who does the bodywork. He also fixed a little bit of rust in the floor as well, but the rest of the internal rust was something that I could do myself. I sanded it away, repainted all of it, and then before long it was time to start cutting holes in the van for the windows. That was a stressful day. After a bit of struggling and quite a few swear words, we turned this into this. It was the first time that the van felt like I was actually making progress on it. We were obviously on van number 3 at this point, and we were about 7 months in and only just making a start. So the windows going in was an amazing first step. We also then put in the vents in the ceiling. So we cut the hole, got some wooden struts to build the support, which would make the ceiling a lot easier when we went to put that in, got the fans fitted. So at that point, all of the external work had been done and it was just getting started on the inside. At this point I was still running sewing days and doing this in the background, so it was a very stressful, very busy time where I was trying to make progress in here, but I also knew that I had a business to run and get ready to hand over to the new owners. Next up was the sound deadening, and it's amazing how much difference they made. So I called the cavalry in today. Please here helping me with doing the sound deadening, and it is really satisfying. So let me show you. So the van, obviously metal, we've got these patches, they're like massive stickers. They're really satisfying to put on. Everything was going really well, and then the rain came. So it's actually been a few weeks since I spoke to you last, and a lot has changed in the van. I've just basically been cracking on because every time I record, everything takes twice as long as it needs to. Time-wise now, it is the 31st of May. You guys know I'm leaving, and I've got less than a month until I finish the shop, and I need to get stuff done. So this is where we're at today. I'm going to flip the camera around and I will show you. So I'm actually inside the van because I've done half the floor, so I've just I'm here with my socks. Basically, we have now completely vapor barriered the whole thing. So vapor barrier basically means one solid piece that liquids can't get through if it leaks. We have put in all of the fluffy fleece wadding around the side. Started to insulate the floors. There's 4 layers on here already. We are very slowly getting there. This flipping window though, it's still leaking. I must have put stuff on the outside of this 50 times and it's still leaking. Look. Oh, it's so annoying. It's getting very real now that I'm finishing at the shop and the van isn't ready. It's really, yeah, it's been a slow burn for a while because the van had to go into the garage twice and get bits done, and then it held me up until that point. But we're getting there. I'm just getting a bit stressed because that's what I love to do. It's all in a self-imposed deadline as well. I can literally leave at any point whenever I want. But let's just worry about it instead, shall we? Today I'm going to do this taping up first, and then hopefully the fly will be here. Let's go. Listen to the rain. I have loads of sound deadening stuff, so here you can't hear anything. But then as soon as you go under the plastic fans. In other news, the window isn't leaking. Yay! And it's properly raining. So for the first time, we've just put the furniture in kind of roughly where it's gonna go. It looks so good. So we've got bench seats, so this will become bed. And then this is the kitchen. So it's gonna be good. Sophie's helping. Rory's helping too, if you can see him. But yeah, we've got a lot of work to do. So we put wood battening up everywhere. I plyboarded all the walls, and of course I had some help from the cats. After a lot of hard work, long days and very sweaty fringes, I was finally making progress. The van had gone from being a metal shell of a van to looking a bit like a spaceship with all this insulation, to then looking like a shed with the wood, and then finally it was beginning to feel like a tiny home. Next up was the only job that I felt like I wasn't confident enough to do on my own, and that was the electrics. It's too dangerous and too expensive of a job to get wrong. So I called in the cavalry, and the lovely Paul helped me out to get everything how I needed it for the first fix of the electrics. So today we are finally getting the electrics put in. Yay! I am with Paul, so he is Gemma's dad who bought the shop from me, and we're doing the electrics. I'm so glad I have him because I've got no idea what I'm doing. I bought all the bits, and obviously there's bits I'm missing, but yes, hopefully by the end of today we will have some sort of electric system. It won't be finished obviously, but if he can help me do the basics, we can go from there. Very excited. And then we have the disaster that was the ceiling. Everybody seems to do their van ceilings in the same way with the long struts. I didn't want to do that because I thought it looked like everybody else's, and also it was going to be very time consuming. So I decided I was going to do it with plyboard. However, there's a reason everybody does it the same way, and you'll find out. Okay, so basically I tried to do the ceiling, but I measured it from the back of the van. When I started installing it, I started doing it from the front of the van. So now none of it works. It's been a very stressful week of ignoring it and pretending it's not there and trying to come up with those solutions. But what I've actually done in the end is binned it off, and I'm going to start again with a completely different scheme. So I don't know if you can see, at the moment it's ply, and some of the joins like here are perfectly fine. Some of them here just completely falls off the roof. I can stick my whole hand underneath it, which obviously I don't want. So I'm taking it down today, and hopefully the other wood is arriving today and I can get it back up, because it's been a nightmare. These things happen. It was all going a bit too smoothly, but we're on a time crunch, so I could have done without this, but yes, I'll get there. I would just like to say, I keep saying we. Now, my brother came and helped at a lot of stages. He was really, really handy to have an extra pair of hands. Rhiannon, who you have seen in previous videos, who worked in the shop with me, she helped me out a lot as well. And Gary obviously popped in every so often, and obviously Fee as well. She had an ulterior motive though, because she was coming on part of the trip. There's no possible way that I could have got this far without all the help. Also, I think mentally, I'm not sure I would have made it through the whole project as well as I did if I hadn't had the support and people was like chipping me along and helping with all the different things when I was hitting a brick wall. So thank you to everybody who did help, because I would not be here if you hadn't, or I would have been here in like 3 years time. So it was planned to leave at the beginning of July, so just a couple of weeks after I finished working at the shop, and then it got pushed back to the end of July and then the beginning of August, and I just decided that it was going to keep getting pushed back. Fee was coming with me, and there was only a certain time that she could come for, so I did something very stupid and I just booked the ferry. I just decided, regardless of what shape the van was in, we were going to get it as livable as possible before I left, and then I would tweak it while I was on the road. So I booked the ferry, and we decided to leave about 4 days later. Not the smartest thing I've ever done, but I also feel like if I just worked on the van with no set deadline, I could have just been there forever. So I needed to push myself out of my comfort zone, get on with it, and start living the dream. Hi guys, so This video has been a bit random and I'm sorry I haven't filmed more footage, but I've just needed to crack on and get the van done, and the more I record the less I get done because it makes everything take a lot longer. It is now Friday. I leave for my trip at 8 AM on Monday morning, and this is the state of the van. It's not good. I currently don't have a kitchen still. The fridge works, but I have got no worktop on, no sink, no hob, nothing to cook from, no cupboard doors. My toilet box is finished and my storage box is finished. The bed is getting there, but I have absolutely no storage. A third of a roof left to do, and as you can see, wires hanging everywhere. At that point, I hadn't finished the electrics. There's no water, there was no way to cook. The fridge was only just in. There was a bed, but it was kind of a version of a bed. It was a bold move, but sometimes you just got to go with it and see what happens. So the day before I left, I wasn't in a very good headspace. I was very stressed. I had money just falling out everywhere. It was becoming very expensive very quickly. I had to spend lots of money all at once to get as much done as possible, and also have enough stuff to take with me to be able to work on it on the road. I wasn't sleeping very well, my back hurt, I was very stressed, I hadn't packed, it was a lot. So if you want to see what happened once I'd left, the fabric shopping that I have been doing while I've been away, any of the crafting I've been doing a little bit of crochet, a little bit of sewing. It's been really, really good fun. Stay tuned, hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell, and you'll be the first to find out when I post a new video. This video has been a long time coming, and the next 3 videos that you guys will see of me traveling around, I have already recorded. So they will be coming to you every week, and I can't wait for you to see what I've been doing on the road. For now, I'll hand you back to a very stressed Louise, who was just about to completely lose her mind, and I will see you next week for another video. So I'm going to leave this video just here, and tune in next week to find out if I got the van ready, if I've left, and yeah, if it all actually comes together, because I'm still not convinced. Anyway, have a great week, and we'll see you next week for another video. Have a good day, guys. I've just got a text to tell me that I've left half of my clothes at home. So we're going to head into Amsterdam. Car park somewhere in Germany, and the window's leaking. We're getting closer to Copenhagen. I'm currently in Sweden. I am so freaking excited.